Hey guys, Charles from Halt's Boots here, and today we are taking a look at the Adidas Predator Accuracy.1 in the low variation. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and unbox these Predator Accuracy.1s. I did get the low version. I also went with an 8.5 instead of my usual 9, just because I heard these are really good for wide feet and I could probably get away with going down half a size and they would fit snugly. So we're going to see if that's the case. Just opening these up here. I did get the launch colorway, and first impressions are, I definitely like this silhouette. I did like the silhouette of the Predator Edge lows, not so much the highs, and kind of the same with the Predator Accuracy. I just prefer a lower cut boot. I do like they kind of went with the older style stripes, and just first impressions as well is there doesn't feel like there's any rubber on this side, whereas the Predator Edge was about as aggressive as it gets with just rubber and grip everywhere. This only has the really rubber slash grip texture on the inside of the boot, so that's kind of cool. They did end up keeping the Predator Edge sole plate, which is okay, I guess. I've never really liked these two-piece sole plates on really any Nike, Adidas, Puma, whatever, but it is what it is. Not a terrible sole plate. It is a bit longer in the forefront studs and the back studs, so sometimes on turf I find that, at least when I tested the Predator Edge Plus, it would snag, so we'll kind of see how these accuracies do. So we just have them both out of the box here. I do like that it is the knit upper again. I don't know if it's the exact same knit upper as the Predator Edge. The heel definitely looks similar, but it's not quite the same. And just the standard Adidas logo on the heel here. So you can just see here, even though it has this sole plate, it is a two-piece sole plate. You can see, hey, the stripes go all the way through the boot up until, I'm assuming, this seam right here. And if you see here, it has this high definition grip. Just a little branding or kind of like blueprint style here. It looks like just a loading bar, and those are just the same shape as these rubber elements here. If you flip to the other side, it does seem like these rubber are only on the instep, not on the outside of the boot. You can see these little like black squares and whatnot, and they are raised slightly, but I don't think it's rubber. It doesn't feel like rubber. I think it's even the same material as the synthetic. I could be wrong, but it is interesting. They're only going with the inside of the boot and not also the outside. I guess I'm just gonna have to really test that out and see what else is going on. Going into wearing these, I'm really only hoping for a few things. As you can see here, this toe box looks huge, and I'm really hoping that that will help accommodate my wide foot and will allow me to wear an 8.5, as I think I'm more 8.5 than a 9, but most boots just aren't wide enough for me, so that's the main thing I'm looking for. The second thing I'm looking for is, are these rubber elements good on the instep and good to not have on the outside, or should they cover the whole boot? I did like with the Predator Edge, I could at least hit a lot more outside the foot passes, and I just felt it was, they were a bit more accurate, a lot more spin on them, allowed you to have a bit more control, so I guess I'm just gonna have to see if that really helps or not. But overall, I definitely think it is a cooler design than the Predator Edge was. I'm hearing that it is a lot better than the Predator Edge was, so I'm just gonna go ahead and test these out over the next few days, and then we'll jump into the rest of the review.
Hey guys, real quick, before we go any further into this video, make sure you check out our website, haltsboots.com, where we have tons of boots ranging from retro to the newer models. So head over there, use discount code YouTube for 5% off your next purchase.
All right guys, so it's been a few days since I unboxed the Predator Accuracy. I think it's been actually about a week. And I just want to show you guys that I have actually beat the crap out of these in the mud and the dirt. This was I actually wore this pair, and it was the first pair that I've done on grass only. I've worn a few other pairs on grass once or twice, but now it's actually getting warm enough in Michigan, where I'm from, where we can actually get out on the grass pitches and kind of just, kick about up there without freezing to death and whatnot. So that's been kind of nice. And for the rest of the review, I'm not actually gonna hold these because I didn't get a chance to clean them up yet, so there's just dirt kind of falling on the floor and on me. So I'm actually just gonna take a pair of brand new ones that are in our inventory over there, and just kind of walk you guys through the boot and my thoughts on them. But I just wanted to show you I did actually wear these, and I'm not just BSing on a clean pair of boots. So to start, we're gonna talk about the sole plate here. This is the facet frame sole plate. It's the same sole plate that was actually on the Predator Edge and a few other remakes they did. And it's not my favorite sole plate. I've never been a fan of the split sole plate. You can kind of see here, it's just one piece here, one piece there. Nothing super special or crazy. I just don't really like them. I feel like that leads to the sole plates kind of just peeling right off, because it just gives it so many different points of contact, like, here, down below here. And I've just seen these boots fall apart. So not necessarily like the boots, but the sole plate, when you wear your boots, the sole plate comes off, usually in the toe or on the sides. But I find when you have a split sole plate, it comes off at different spots. So I mean, it is what it is. I didn't beat the crap out of a pair of Predator edges enough to see that happen. So I don't know how well they did for most other people, but I've just seen a few like pros who've worn them into the ground, or a couple people who have sent them in to get them repaired, to just people who repair boots and like cobblers and stuff. Like, that's a main issue. Another thing is these studs are a bit longer. I don't know, we'll see, I don't know if we'll focus here, but I found that when testing the Predator Edge Plus, I had the 94 remake version, so it was like all leather upper or whatever. But I was wearing it on turf that wasn't like quality turf, and I found that I would get my heel, like these back studs here would kind of catch if I was backing up, or if I was cutting a bit. I could kind of really feel how long these studs are, and they're not really aggressive. I mean, you can see it's just like triangular stud patterns all the way around, and maybe a few like diamonds here and there. It's just, they're just a little bit long and kind of dig into the ground. So it's not the stud shape, it's just the length. You can wear these on turf. I just suggest wearing them on turf that's a bit nicer. You can get away with wearing them on a crappier turf. Just be a little mindful about that. I'm not sure how the AG variation of this the facet frame sole plate works, or I'm not sure if it's shorter. I know they have a few more studs, but it's all the same shape. It's not conical. So I can't imagine that they would leave the sole plate the same. I could be wrong, I just haven't gotten a pair yet. So once I get a pair of either Predator Edge with the AG sole plate, or the Predator Accuracy with the AG sole plate, I'll be able to let you guys know. You will find that it is also a pretty sturdy sole plate, with most of the strength coming from the inside of the boot here. You can kind of see it splits its line there. Like, it's just like kind of like a thicker line here of like when the boot gets molded together. And it is very, very sturdy, even though it's not a full sole plate. So if you're someone who needs a bit more of a stiff sole plate, you definitely got that here. It is flexible just up in the toe area, like most other boots are. So I would say it's just an average sole plate overall. So if we talk about the laces, it's nothing really to write home about, just standard Adidas laces. You know, it does have a little pink aglet right here, and it does have the Predator logo on it as well. Well, not the logo, but the word spelled out. So that is just kind of something that, you know, is always nice to have on a pair of boots, just a nice little touch that you see most of the time. So nothing special there. When we talk about the lockdown here, I felt that overall this boot was decent. I did have issues, and I'll get more into that when I go to the, like, how these fit in the later portion of the video, but I did just have some heel slippage back here, and I'm not entirely sure why, and I'll kind of explain what happened. It did go away, and once that went away, I felt this boot really hugged my foot well. Besides that heel issue I just talked about, I didn't feel any issue with the lockdown at all. There was no slippage anywhere inside of the boot, just kind of in the heel area a little bit. But other than that, I would say it hugs your foot well, and having a wide foot, this boot is good for wide feet. And I'm not sure how well the lockdown will be if you have super narrow feet. I'm sure if you have normal feet, or just standard feet that, you know, they're not really wide, not really narrow, that your foot will fit fine, and there won't really be a whole lot of room in these boots. But I can't really tell you that for certain, because I do have wide feet. But lockdown felt good on these, no issues once they were broken in and whatnot. Moving on to the upper, I did mention the unboxing. You can see all these like black, just little extra pieces there on top of these like pink rubber elements, and the black pieces there didn't really do anything in terms of like grip on the ball. I don't even know if it's rubber. It might be, but I didn't think it helped. I felt like just having the rubber here was kind of weird. I personally didn't like that. And I say that because when wearing the Predator Edge, it was that really crazy, like super aggressive fans like coating the entire boot. But anytime I had those boots on and wanted to hit a weird pass, or a pass that required, you know, like a little bit of whippage or swaz, or, you know, outside the foot or something like that, where you really can kind of control how the ball moves, that was perfect because you just had so much grip. And only leaving like the rubber elements right here and none on this side kind of negated anything with the outside of the foot in terms of like extra grip. I mean, you can still hit a pass, and if you're a good enough player, the boots won't matter, but I definitely feel like the rubber elements help a little bit. But just leaving these on the inside, it just felt like, why? Either get rid of them or add them to the whole boot. And I don't think it's as ridiculous or as aggressive as the Predator Freak or Predator Edge was. It didn't have to be. I just kind of wanted a little bit something different, you know, and what we got was okay, but overall, nah. And on the boot here, it says high definition grip, and it's got like a loading bar, and it's 4 out of the 5 squares are like filled up, or rectangles. And I believe this has to do with the tier of the boot. So yes, this is the 0.1 version, but I guess you could argue the plus version without laces is like the top model. So I'm assuming the plus boots, and I don't have a pair yet, so I can't confirm that, but would be filled all the way. I have seen a pair of takedowns that weren't filled all the way. I want to say it was the 0.2s or 0.3s. So I'm assuming like the 0.4 version will have 1 bar, the 0.2 will have 2 bars, and so on and so on. So I guess kind of cool, kind of just something that's there. I don't know, but it definitely is just another detail. So even though it says high definition grip, which I would prefer that on the whole boot instead of the side, but anyways, moving on. In terms of the upper, it's okay. I mean, the touch on the ball is all right. You don't have anything super crazy. It's not very plush. It's not very like hard, so that's nice, but it's just kind of in the middle. Like, yeah, you know, you're touching the ball, but I mean, that's about it. You know, you do have a nice knit upper, which it's always nice to have a knit upper when you have like a synthetic coating. So at least the top of your foot kind of has that soft material on it. But other than that, it's just nothing crazy to write home about. Like I said, if it had the complete rubber coating, I think that would change my mind in terms of like feel the ball maybe a little bit more, because you can control it a little bit better. But other than that, you know, it's just kind of there. It's just okay. For the fit of this boot, I did mention I had some issues with my heel slipping, and it wasn't very much. It's very minimal, maybe like 1/8 of an inch or even a few millimeters. I can feel my foot kind of pop out, which I guess is a big deal, but this is also the low version. So I'm wondering if the high version will just have your heel and the whole back part of your foot sit a little bit more snug, having just that extra material. Even though it's not going to give you like ankle support, I do feel like they help the boots kind of close around your foot and fit a little bit better. But other than that, like, this boot is probably one of the best boots on the market for wide feet that aren't leather and won't stretch to your foot like all leather boots do. And on top of that, the width of this boot and the toe box is actually perfect. My toes weren't crammed in there. I didn't have any pains on the side of my feet. I think this is the best boot on the market in terms of like fitting and accommodating wide feet. That's not either a 2E boot, which is what New Balance calls their extra wide boots, or like a leather boot like a Copa or a Tiempo, which will actually stretch to allow your foot to fit in. And you know, I did go down to an 8.5 out of a 9, but that's just because I kind of float between a 9 and an 8.5, and I think you can probably get your regular size. I wouldn't necessarily quote me on that though, because you know, all of our feet are going to be different, and I'm kind of in that awkward space of in between. So maybe if you're in between like a size, like if you're in between a 7 and a 7.5, I would try the 7, but you know, you might just have to try a pair for yourself. And everything fit perfect once this boot was broken in. I didn't have any of the heel slippage after I finally felt like the boot was soft enough and broken in. And the heel is a little bit stiffer around the foot. However, it does soften up, like I said, and not only like the upper and the side softening up, that heel will soften up as well. At least it did for me. And the boot is comfortable, and I didn't have any issues after that break-in time. And besides the heel slippage, the only other real issue I had in terms of like the fit and overall stuff with this boot is just my arch kind of hurt a lot. And usually the pain is in the sides of my foot, like here or here, but because it's so wide, I didn't have that issue. But for some reason, my arch would just really kill me and cramp up. And I don't really know why. It could just be because I have that super high arch and the very wide feet, which is just an awkward foot shape. Or it could have just been the boot, but once I finally broke them in towards the last few sessions, it just generally went away. I was able to do full sprinting sessions and whatnot with these boots, and that kind of just made me at least feel a little bit better about this boot, that, you know, once it's broken in, the pain's not there. So just in overall, my final thoughts on this boot: it definitely is the best boot on the market that I've tried that's not leather, that is good for wide feet. I definitely really wish we could have gotten rubber all the way around. Maybe if they do like a 2.0 version of this, like they did with the Speed Portal when they took the Carbon-Tex away, maybe they'll do a little update if enough people complain about this. However, I feel like I'm the only person complaining about this, so we probably won't see it. But other than that, and the heel issue, once it went away, it's a solid pair of boots. I'm not gonna sit here and say they're a crazy pair of boots or it's a boot everybody should have, but maybe for someone who has wide feet and wants a boot that'll be more comfortable right out the box and not a lengthy break-in time, I would say try this boot out and give this boot a go. We actually have, I think, 30-ish pairs on our website right now that we just dropped a few days ago. So if you want to catch a pair $100 below retail, hit our website up. Shameless plug there. But rating is going to be a 7.1 out of 10. It's just slightly better than a 7, but not much else besides that. It is a good boot, like I said. But you know, like, it's just missing a couple things. It's missing that extra rubber element. It's missing kind of a wow factor. It's definitely not a boot that I would say is garbage, as I previously said, but it's also not something I would say is going to change the game or change the boot market at all. So yeah, just overall, 7.1 out of 10, and definitely a solid boot. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as well as drop a comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.